Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I missed you guys. How are we feeling today? Everyone comfy and cozy? Everyone got their drinks in hand? Everyone got their drinks and snacks at the ready? Hello, chat. Hi, everyone. Hello. Hello, hello. Hi, big dog. Hello. Hello, small dogs. Hello, small dogs. Good morning, Mary. It's 8:10 a.m. and still haven't slept yet. You already got your snacks? Looking real comfy today. I'm glad. All right. Well, get comfy, get cozy. Shout out to YouTube chat. Hello, YouTube chat. Hello, Twitch chat. So, I've written a speech. I'm gonna go through it now. I'm gonna turn off the music. And we're gonna chat. And I'm not gonna explain to you what the point of the stream is because that's written into the speech. So just lean back, relax, and I'll explain. So, when I was a child, I was on a website known as DeviantArt. I think many people in the audience are aware of this website. One in chat if you were ever on DeviantArt. DeviantArt was an awesome place. People could post art, journals, and interact with each other. It was the first time I'd ever been around so many other people who had the same interest in anime that I had. And back then, everyone had their own OC. It was often something crazy like a purple-eyed half-vampire, half-angel with special powers and a traumatic backstory. These kind of original characters were all over the place. People would draw and write about their OC, or insert them into other universes like anime or Harry Potter or Supernatural. And often they'd commission others to make art of their OC. Well, those times were fun. But we aren't children anymore. Those OCs are now stuck in old sketch pads and DeviantArt posts, long forgotten. But nowadays, another phenomenon that bears a somewhat striking resemblance to it actually exists. VTubers. Virtual YouTubers. Using modern motion capture technology and advancements in live 2D rigging, anyone with an iPhone and a computer can now be a fully animated original character. And now that the internet has grown so much, many are even able to earn a living from embodying their very own OC. Playing video games, singing, and telling stories are now all perfectly valid ways to generate revenue as a VTuber. In short, it's what every kid with an OC on DeviantArt dreamt of. Maybe even beyond their wildest dreams, to be honest. Become whatever you wish to be. Your imagination is the only limit, and have it possibly become what you do for a living. Wow. I could never have imagined this sort of content could be possible until I saw Kizuna. Sounds fantastic, right? Ali, thank you for the 37 months. Well, it is fantastic. It's magical, amazing, and I'm thankful every day that I get to be a part of it. Yet, as with many great and lucrative new things, problems inevitably spring up. We as a community have had to deal with scammers trying to take advantage of us, like the animation studio that charged tens of thousands of dollars from VTubers and never delivered their animations, or other predatory managers that have founded VTuber agencies seemingly for the purpose of attempting to date their talent. We've also had VTuber businesses crash and burn in horrible ways, with hundreds of thousands of dollars unaccounted for. It is to be expected that where there is growth, there will be people who attempt to take advantage of that growth for their own ends. That is just how the world works. We can do our best to speak out, hold people accountable, and take care of our own. At the end, those who are truly passionate and doing it for the pure love of VTubing will be recognizable to us. even if it means we sometimes get burnt along the way. And hopefully those burnt can advise new people who join on how to avoid these situations. But this is not the only issue that pertains to and plagues the world of VTubing. We have another issue: social dynamics. Everyone runs into social issues in their life. Human beings are, after all, social creatures. And this is no less true online. I used to play World of Warcraft, and the amount of drama, intrigue, and backstabbing you'd experience in World of Warcraft would make the average episode of Game of Thrones pale by comparison. And that was just a game without any real consequences. Bring fame and riches into the mix and you've got a recipe for a whole another level of crazy social issues. Who becomes VTubers? Well, people from all walks of life, of course. But what is the main unifier between the vast majority of VTubers? Well, internet dwellers. Those of us who are savvy internet users who spent our lives playing online games, chatting on Discord, watching anime on sketchy sites, and trying to learn Japanese while role-playing on Gaia Online. I love my kindred internet people. We're a magical and diverse community full of crazy, insane people, and we have created a weird and awesome global culture that binds us all together. I can say that, and also acknowledge that we are not the most socially well-adjusted people. Internet users are usually people who are more timid and prefer to socialize through the internet rather than in real life. I certainly was like that as well. It's great that we can have that, but it can also perpetuate certain bad social habits. And now that VTubing is a thing, we are seeing all of these many different social issues being brought to the very forefront. Everyone's behavior is visible on social media. Everyone's unfiltered interactions can be listened to live on stream, and VTubers are incentivized to collaborate with each other for network, growth, and sometimes just to make friends and hang out with people they find cool. So, I'm sorry to say this next part. What happens when you take a bunch of socially maladjusted crazy fantasy characters and make them have to work together to make a living in a social environment? Well, that's what today's stream is about. So welcome to today's stream. Let's get into it. And it's not that dramatic. I have Netro in chat being like, oh no, it's not that dramatic. I think the situations we're going to be reading about are probably relatable to many of you. Probably pertains also to regular things that happen in our social life. And I thought to myself, why don't we read it? Why don't we get into it? Why don't we talk about it? Why don't we, why don't we just think about these different situations? And then we can see if there's anything to learn, anything to think about. So let's do it. The whole situation started with community boyfriend, user at AlicedJPEG. Let me pull it up here. All right. Here we are. Let's go ahead. Resize the window. There we go. All right. AlicedJPEG posted this tweet. Do you have any bad collab experiences? My worst one was a couple of years ago with a VTuber. We were supposed to play Valorant together, but something came up on their end. They cancelled less than an hour before we were scheduled to go live. I get that emergencies happen, so I reached out to reschedule and got completely ghosted. A short while later, they even unfollowed me. We had similar-sized audiences, so it wasn't like I was a nobody to them. I was just left hanging with nothing. I hope they were okay. Definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. So this sort of situation can happen sometimes, and many other situations have arisen, and many people have shared their own feelings and thoughts and things that happen to them. So I want to go through it. You can see there's 4.1 million views on this. This is clearly a topic that interests many people. So I've decided to read it. And you even see there's a situation here shared. I guess this one time, this is from user @MarryDog. I guess this one time that guy at Lost Paws physically assaulted me in the middle of our collab. It took 6 guys to get him off me after he started pummeling me with his oversized hands. And here we got a response from that same user at Lost Paws. I guess there was that one time that guy at MarryDog physically made out with me in the middle of our collab. It took 6 guys to get him off me after he started gripping my butt with his dainty Danish hands. So you can see there's a lot of situations that occur when you try to interact with people online. Yes. Dog Army, do you prefer if I have a BGM on, or should we leave it off? I can put BGM on, I just sometimes fear that it might be distracting. What do you say? Do you want BGM on or off? On but quiet. Soft BGM might work. On question mark. Calm BGM. I mean, we've got this one. I can try and play it. Let me know if it becomes distracting, though. I tend to choose no BGM, but I have a friend who always kind of tells me, like, you should put BGM on. You should put... But I feel... I feel like it's distracting. So I'll try to leave it on. Let me know if it... let me know if it's no good, okay? Alright. Hi, Chad. I'm glad to join the community, but I'm already having fun. That's good. Alright, everyone. We're going to be reading through some different things here. So, to start with, I'm going to give my thoughts on this one, which is the one shared by Alice JPEG that we read a moment ago. I think these sorts of things happen. Sometimes someone can just not really vibe with someone else, but they also don't want to really confront the issue. I think that's happened before. I've certainly had it happen to me. I once had a real life friend that I got along with very, very well. And then one time we had like a fight, and then he started saying like he got over the fight. It was a year later. We started hanging out a little bit again, but then he just started ghosting me again for no real particular reason. Sometimes you just don't get along with them. Just don't want to hang out with them. Just don't want to do it. And even if you don't, like, I kind of get it. Like, you don't want to confront them. So it sucks for the person getting ghosted, because they're not really getting any closure. But at the same time, I think sometimes some people, they just don't really want to deal with having to talk about it. Just stopping talking about it might make it easier. So anyway, let's go through the quotes. So here, this one's interesting. This one comes from Epiphany VT at VAngelic. It was a Minecraft SMP. I don't really like Minecraft, so I burnt down a village, made a bee sanctuary, picked flowers, followed my friends around, just dumb stuff. Apparently, there was a bee plot that everyone else knew to blow up my bee sanctuary for burning the village. The main guy screamed at me, hit me into my blown up bee sanctuary, legitimately screamed with his old chest. I burst into tears and I muted. I tried to power through it and just keep going, but I couldn't stop crying. I had to end stream. I keep the VOD and rewatch it sometimes. Also, to note that I didn't burn down the village because I don't like Minecraft. It was just silly boredom-filling time. My friend gave me a flint and steel, and I was having a great time. So this one's a little funny to me, because what do you mean you burnt down the whole village? You burnt down the village and then you're upset that someone yelled at you in roleplay and then punched you into a blown up bee sanctuary. I mean, if you're gonna destroy other people's stuff, maybe expect that your stuff is gonna get destroyed. Okay, speaking as someone who has participated, burning down the entire village, you know, as a treat. Speaking as someone who has been in Minecraft roleplay, I think if you destroy other stuff, you need to be prepared for people destroying your stuff. It brings me back to Mr. Vox Akuma. Was it in NPC Village? No, it seemed... The implication here seems to be that it was the village, so the village where people were playing. Either way, the screaming was the problem. The screaming might be the problem. I can see how that might be kind of anxiety-inducing. Definitely very anxiety-inducing. So, I think that roleplay situations can be really fun, but I think people need to... I would be so mad if someone destroyed my things, but I've never played in a roleplay server, to be honest. I think there's like a gentleman's agreement that you don't destroy things unless people are cool with it. So I think if you destroy other people's stuff, I think you have to be okay with them destroying your stuff. If you destroy other people's stuff for fun, you gotta be okay with other people destroying your stuff for fun. And it brings me back to Vox's whole arc being an evil wizard, blowing up my tower and destroying other people's stuff. He knew that people were gonna potentially destroy his base, which is why he moved it. He moved his base to a different place, because he knew that that was gonna inevitably happen to his place if he didn't move it. So he moved it to a secret location. Anyway, moving on. I think my advice to people with regard to this is what I want to do. I want to give a bit of advice with all of my experience. Be careful of joining roleplay servers, because I've seen this happen multiple times. We saw this happen with a certain VTuber who got upset because they were called inferior by another, you know, role player on a Minecraft roleplay server, and it spawned a whole thing on Twitter. It was very silly and stupid. If you're gonna join a roleplay server, try to be aware of your limitations. I'm not saying don't join a roleplay server if you have social anxiety or if you have, you know, social issues. I'm just saying be aware of your own limitations. If you're the kind of roleplay, if you're the kind of person who gets socially anxious from people yelling at you, or who gets scared easily from people bringing you into a high stress situation, let people know beforehand. Communicate it to the people around you. Play a role that doesn't, play a role that doesn't require you getting into stressful situations. Like on our Minecraft server, like on VCraft. There were people who just did things in the market and who just hung out, and that was more chill. And there were people who just had fun and ran around and built stuff in the town, and that was a lot less of a stressful situation. So definitely don't, for the pure fun of it, take a flint and steel and run around burning down other people's houses. That, I think, if you're gonna get scared of getting put into a scary situation with people screaming at you, probably don't put yourself into a stressful situation. But that's what I'd say. Be aware of your limitations, communicate it to the people around you, and, just be an adult. You can be someone who has flaws and who has difficulties, but you need to be an adult about it. You need to be aware and plan around your own limitations. Whether those limitations might be mental, physical, whatever it might be, you have to plan around it. Okay, next up. Got invited to a collab. Was super excited to play. This one comes from Nim the Bunny. Got invited to a collab. Was super excited to play. Got ready, and they tell me their friend invited themselves to the collab, but if I didn't mind waiting a while, they would get me in. I said sure, I don't mind. After their friend gets off, they finish stream and don't tell me. I have to reach out myself in DM and ask if they were still on for the collab. They said something like, sorry, yeah, we're all just really tired. It was really humiliating. I'd hyped up the collab and kept telling my chat, we just got to wait a bit more. Never again. So I think this is This is an unfortunate situation where I don't think any individual in this situation had ill intent. I think it's a situation where one party clearly didn't really consider how important this was to another party. I think it happens. Like you know, you invite someone for something. To you, that something isn't that important, and you make the faulty assumption of assuming that the situation is not that important to the person you're inviting either. But lo and behold, you're wrong. It's actually very important to the other person. They planned their whole evening around it, and now you're a dickhead. And that's just what happens. That kind of thing happens. And I think it's important to communicate these kind of things. I think when you get invited to a collaboration by someone, I think it's okay to expect that this is gonna happen. I do think it's a little bit rude to be like, oh yeah, do you mind if this friend comes in first before you? And then ending before even telling them. I do think it's on the other person in this situation. I do hope Nimda kind of let them know that they were sort of disappointed. I don't think this is a faux pas to the point of cutting contact, at least not from my perspective. I do think this is something that this person needs to be told, hey, that wasn't cool. I planned my whole evening around this. If you invite me to a collab, please make sure that you planned. I actually really looked forward to this, you know. And, you know, if you invited someone and you get tired, I mean, you can ask them, hey, do you mind, like, listen, like, I'm really tired right now. I thought I could have energy to keep going, but I ended up overestimating my own energy. Do you mind, like, maybe doing it tomorrow or next week? I think most people wouldn't mind, but I do think you need to be ready to just power through that collab anyway. Go get a Red Bull. Like, sometimes you have to deal with the fact that sometimes you don't have a human right to never have to carry through a situation that you invited someone into, even if you're tired. Sometimes you just gotta power through it. Get a Red Bull, make a cup of coffee, like, do a little power nap and then jump back in, right? You know. So I do think this is a situation where it's pretty unfortunate for Nimda. It kind of sucks, but, you know, happens. All right, here we go. Leia Cat. This is from @LeiaCat on Twitter. From Kisai Tenshi on YouTube chat, on Twitch chat. In RP, you're supposed to telegraph your actions, especially if you're going to be the villain. Seems like you're a little bit behind Kisai, but yes, I agree. Leia Cat says, I introduced one of my IRL friends to VTubing when I was still super new. We were doing a visual novel together and voicing different characters. My chat kept complimenting her voice acting. She decided to announce that she was leaving the collab to go live on her own channel by herself. On her way out, she said, and suddenly your chat is going to go quiet, implying that everybody was going to leave my stream and go to hers. So we have BT Sunbreak here putting in, that sounds like one of my quote-unquote friends. Leia says, it was hard since we had been friends for so long and I'd already excused so much of her behavior. But finally I decided to cut her off. It was the best decision I've made. Wish I could have done it sooner. I'm glad you were able to take that step, Leia. You deserve better. I'm glad we were friends. So this is two layered. So first of all, I'm noting down both things I want to talk about with regard to this. Okay, there we are. So, two-pronged. We have, I feel like this is a recurring issue I see all the time. It is kind of a weird feeling that a person you care about a lot seems to kinda be trying to entice your audience. And I say your audience, I mean, the audience doesn't belong to you. But at the same time, you know, they're people that you've kind of accrued here to your channel through your effort of streaming and putting in your time and your money and your investment and your blood, sweat and tears into creating an interest from the people watching. So I do think your audience makes sense in this situation. So I think a lot of VTubers have had this feeling where you've collabed with someone and it just sort of feels weird. Like, it feels like they might kind of be there for ulterior motives. Like, you don't want to think that. I mean, of course we're all here to grow. VTubers have to grow because they have to do collabs so that more people notice them, so that more people come to their streams, so that they can follow their dreams of being a full-time VTuber and doing all of the things that they dream to do. That can be pure-hearted in a way, but there's a way to do that. And you have to be sweet and you have to be polite. And if someone invites you on their stream or agrees to a collab with you on their channel, that is them giving you a spotlight on their channel, which is a channel that they put in their blood, sweat, tears, money and time. Because many VTubers are people who saved up for months, if not maybe a year or plus, to become a VTuber, to get a model, to get all their assets done. People who spent a long time spending precious time that they had. Some people who even did it while studying or while working, while that extra time that they were spending could have been time that they could have spent relaxing or being with their family or friends. They sacrificed that time to build that channel. And that channel, as a result, is a channel that, they sacrificed things for. They sacrificed things to build this community. And when they invite you on their channel, what they're doing is they are sharing a precious thing with you. So when you are being shared something precious, you need to not abuse that. So this definitely feels like a tone-deaf person. Like, I always assume ignorance instead of malice. My go-to is always to assume ignorance. I always assume that people aren't inherently evil, and people don't inherently have sorry, I'm also organizing in the background that we're going to give me one moment. I'm organizing, me and my friends, we're gonna go watch The Amazing Digital Circus tomorrow, and we just got the ticket. So let me just make the group chat real quick. Hold on. And Toro, there we go. Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Where was I? Anyway, I always try to assume ignorance as opposed to malice. I think you need to go through life with a certain level of that. That doesn't mean, just because someone's ignorant, that doesn't mean that they're not wrong. You have to be aware of your surroundings, and while mistakes happen, you have to take responsibility for those mistakes. I've certainly been ignorant and at fault in social situations before. I have very much been someone who sometimes doesn't consider other people's feelings or the situation I'm in. I am as guilty of that as anyone else, and so as a result, of course, I sympathize with that. But even if so, you also need to accept that you're going to be the bad guy in a story if you show this level of ignorance. Telling someone and suddenly your chat is going to go quiet after promoting your own stream and going to stream, that's a bad move. It's rude, it's bad, it's not nice. And I definitely think this person needs a good confronting, but I also don't think that Leia Cat necessarily owes them that. I think it's fine to just, if you don't want to deal with someone's behavior, you just stop hanging out with them. I don't think you necessarily owe people an explanation, you know? You don't necessarily owe people a confrontation that can often be anxiety-inducing and harsh. I do think if it's someone who's invested a significant amount of time and effort and you know, years in a friendship, maybe they're owed some sort of, you know, this is not like a black and white thing. Maybe in some situations people are owed some sort of explanation. But I think in a lot of these sorts of situations, it's just not the case. And I don't know. I kind of sympathize with Leia Cat here. In another situation here, Leia Cat also says that they cut ties with them eventually. And it was a decision they wish they had done sooner. I definitely sympathize with this. I'm someone who has clung to friendships that were toxic. And I definitely have, in many situations, wished that I didn't. Sometimes it's better to cut things off sooner rather than later because it's toxic. And the longer you cling on to something, thinking that maybe it'll work, maybe they'll be nicer to you, maybe they'll come around, you know, it can be scary to cut people off. Sometimes, like, I've had situations where I've been scared to cut people off, thinking that they were gonna kind of like get mad at me and backlash at me and stuff. And I think even if that's the case, what would you rather have? Years of kind of being stuck with toxic people, or maybe some backlash from them, from cutting them off? I would say it's definitely better to rip the band-aid off and get it done and over with and move on with your life. That's what I'd say. But that's oftentimes harder to say than to do. Anyway. Collab with your Oshi. Annoy him on stream to the point of never replying to your DMs again. I have not collabed since. That sucks. It's from Mitchie Soren. That definitely sucks. It's a little bit more of a funny one. I think Mitchie does, you know, they acknowledge they were annoying. It sucks, you know. I mean, I think a lot of people have had this situation, you know, you get your dream collab, you don't do super well, and then you flunk, and then you don't really get another chance. I think that happens. I've had situations like that happen, definitely. I've flunked collabs. I think many people have. Luckily, I think for me, I have enough. I think I have enough credits in this community that people kind of give me infinite chances. No matter how awkward I am, people sort of give me infinite chances. But I've definitely had situations where I flunked out on collabs. I've had a few collabs where I definitely sort of spilled my spaghetti. So yeah, hello Russian. Yeah, so I definitely feel for Mitchie here. Hopefully someday she'll get that, but you know, there's plenty of fish in the sea. She'll get many more collabs. So this one I've already read. This one was a little heartbreaking. This is from Crony, aka Necronival. This just happened today. I'm shaking, still thinking about it. I joined the collab and experienced technical issues. When I let my collab partners know, they all ignored me. I was panicking, but they didn't bother to respond. No matter how many times I repeated myself, no matter how much I frantically tried to fix it, they still ignored me. I wanted to cry. I thought they were my friends. I thought I could count on them, but I was wrong. I guess our friendship meant nothing to them after all. Anyways, turns out my Discord had muted. It was funny. That's so silly. Hello, Psycho. How are you doing? I also saw you replied to this one, Psycho. I'm gonna read yours as well. Shout out to my wonderful collab partners. That is so funny. That's so silly. You know what that reminds me of? Freaking today, a certain imp, aka Camilla, messaged me, Mary, are you around? And I reply, I'm here, Camilla, what's up? Fucking no response. That was 10 hours ago. Hey, Mary, are you here? Yes, Camilla, what's up? Nothing. Absolutely not. That's the most Camilla move ever, by the way. That is so Camilla. She's rage baiting me. I wouldn't even put it above her. Oh lordy, I didn't know you were reading all of them. I am, yeah. Reading through them. Anyway. So this is funny. I've had situations like this before, definitely. Shoto's bad stream collab. One of my friends went really hard on bullying me. I think I just got sad. I started crying on stream. The day after, he came and apologized to me by gifting me subs. Okay. That's a good ending. Mia Mikhail. I had a collab partner. I had a collab planned with a VTuber who was super nice. And we had similar numbers. He was a bit smaller than me, but not that much. She was the one who asked me to collab, and I said yes, because I wanted to get to know her more. One of her videos got viral. She grew a lot in a day. She went from 30 to 500 viewers. She said she didn't care about the numbers and still wanted to collab with me, so I announced the collab to my community. The day we scheduled the collab arrived. I started streaming. I wrote her, but ghosted all my messages and calls. I went to her chat and said, hey girl, I'm ready whenever you are, but I got ignored. She then started playing other games, never spoke to me again, and started hanging out with bigger VTubers. I was live when this happened, so my community saw me being ghosted. I felt very heartbroken. I was naive, and I really thought she wanted to be my friend. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, hey, Mia. Hello, thank you for the 9 months, Mia. Good to see you in chat. Good to see you, yeah. That's heartbreaking. I think if you're gonna tell someone that a collab is still on, it's on you to communicate it if you wanna just not do it. I don't know why this person did that. Seems very odd. Seems like an odd move. Maybe they had their reasons. I guess we'll never really know. Perhaps you could answer my question here, Mia. I've got a follow-up question for you. Had you confirmed the date with them? They had told you, yes, we're collabing on this date. You both agreed, yeah, we're doing it on this date. Had that been confirmed? Hello, Keelan Bell. Good to see you. How are you doing? Perhaps you could confirm that for me. This was definitely a planned thing. They had confirmed the time and what you were going to be doing. She confirmed until the very end, and then she ghosted me. Yeah, that's definitely on her. That's definitely on her. I don't know. People are weird. People do stupid things. I don't know who this was, but that's 100% on them. They need to communicate it. Doesn't matter if they change their mind. Doesn't matter if they have a good reason. No matter what, that's on them. No matter what their reason is, they need to say if they're not going to do it. They can't just leave you hanging. Right? Like, that's on them. If you plan something, you got to stick to it. She became a very huge VTuber with more than 1k viewers. Start hanging out with super big VTubers, so my guess is that I was not good enough anymore. I mean, that can be it, right? Like, I think it's a common occurrence, unfortunately. I tend to try and excuse it. Again, I try to assume ignorance or stupidity above malice most days. People stop talking to others for many, many different reasons. This one, I think it's just inconsiderate. I think the absolute lightest way I can say it is inconsiderate. It's fine, she deserves to choose who to collab with, but still a bit heartbroken. Definitely. I think... I mean, she can deserve to choose who to collab with. That's fair. That's her choice. But if you agree on a date and time, you need to say if you're canceling. You can't just leave someone hanging. That is the worst thing you can do in that situation. You have to cancel. If you're not gonna show up, you have to let them know. That just needs to happen. So, sorry about that, Mia. That really sucks. Definitely. Communication needed to happen. Yep. 100%. I'm sorry that happened to Mia. It happens. If it's any consolation, I think I've had similar things happen to me. I have had people make plans and then just delay them indefinitely, but at least in my situation, they told me, right? It sucks. Definitely sucks. I'm sorry about that. Yes. Okay. Psycho. This one sucks. If you say, okay, codename Sidehog. If you say you're gonna do something, you do it. If you can't, let people know. Same professionalism we expected to use at work. But we should use. I mean, it's not even just a professional thing. It's a common sense thing. It's like if you invite someone out, you let them know if you can't come. You don't let them go and sit and wait for you. It's a dick move. It's just a common sense social matter. So yeah, definitely sucks. Dolphy, thank you for the 30 months. Thank you so much. And we have a hype train. Thank you for the hype train. Okay. Big shout out to Psycho, by the way. She is in chat. And also shout out to Mikhail. Lovely person. Okay. Oh man, buckle up. I was a part of this group where we would all play games every week. It was this for months until one day one of them messaged me saying, everyone is taking the night off. Thought, okay, I'll just take a day off as well since it was a long week. By the way, we were all same viewership except two of them. They pulled 1k plus. Checked my phone and got a notification. They all went live. I was confused, so I popped into the streamer who messaged me and started listening. At first, our communities were confused where I was, since our group was always together. Then my quote-unquote friends were telling their communities how my voice was annoying, made their ears bleed, and mainly they were losing viewers. Some of their chat defended me, which I've always appreciated, but a ton of people were making very mean comments about my voice. I cut all those friends off, cried, and from there I didn't collab for almost 5 years after that. Only with people I knew who genuinely loved me. Took me a very, very long time to heal from that, but VTubing has helped me a ton. Yeah, I don't know. That's just heartbreaking. I would cry. Man, I would bawl my eyes out if that happened to me. I would be so upset. That would feel like such a betrayal. That is just a betrayal. I struggle to understand how they would feel comfortable doing that on stream, no less. Psycho, I have a follow-up question. Actually, I have two follow-up questions. So, question number one, I want to ask, you mentioned VTubing has helped me a ton. So, did this happen before VTubing? Before you were a VTuber? Because I remember down here, being a part of the this happened a very long time ago. And I believe you mentioned somewhere else that it was IRL streamers, I think. So perhaps you could enlighten me. Who needs enemies when you got friends like that? Yeah, definitely. But I struggle to understand how they would feel comfortable making fun of you on stream in such an obvious way. Happened years ago, and it was before I got into VTubing. Yeah, I struggle to understand, because I feel like if that happened now, in VTubing at least, I feel like there would be a million call-out posts. I struggle to understand how they would feel okay being high school bullies to such an extent live to their audiences. I feel that's the kind of thing you'd lose your audience over. People have lost their audience for a lot less. So it definitely strikes me as like this is something that might have happened in a different streaming environment than the one we're used to here. I also don't understand what the issue is with your voice. I think your voice is lovely, Psycho. So big shout out to Psycho. Sucks, I'm so sorry. But hopefully, you know, you mentioned before you have lovely friends now. And I'm glad. I'm very happy. Hello, Jockernaut. And Whoopi, thank you for the tier 3 sub at 27 months. Thank you. Big love in chat to Whoopi. Thank you so much. Thank you, Whoopi. In the group, it was a lot of low-key bullying, but it was more like pick on someone to make themselves look better. I have another follow-up question. Were they trying to say it like a joke, but it didn't feel like a joke? You know, the situations where, you know, the person is kind of disguising it as a joke, even though they're kind of being mean still. Thank you, Marion Chat. I've healed and I'm okay. I'm glad. Thank you, Hamu, for the 100 biddies. I checked Psycho's shorts because I was curious about her voice, and she sounds lovely. I would marry her. I mean, what? Psycho's wonderful. I have no idea what the issue is. Absolutely none. I'm glad you're okay now, Psycho. And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you very much. Yeah. Who needs enemies when you've got friends like this? Not at all. They were laughing at their chat, saying my ears make them bleed and how they're happy I wasn't there. And they were laughing and agreeing with their chat. Ugh. Jesus. That is disgusting behavior. You know, that reminds me, a long time ago, before VTubing was a common thing on Twitch, I was sort of a regular chatter in the Twitch art community. I was sort of a regular chatter, and I remember there was some... Oh, Keelan, thank you for the 3 months. Thank you so much, Keelan Bell. And thank you again, big shout out to my tier 3 subby, Whoopi. Thank you so much. Anyway, a long time ago, in the art community on Twitch, before VTubing was there, the anime fandom kind of centered around people who did anime-style art on Twitch. So there was this artist and his girlfriend. It was a very long time ago. Don't want to name their names. They've moved on since then. But they started talking about this other artist. And they started making fun of her and saying like, oh, this artist like so ugly. Ha 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 ha. What is she, autistic? Ha ha ha. And I was like, Jesus, what? How do you feel comfortable acting like such a high school bully in public where people can see what you're doing? They ended up getting huge backlash from that. And obviously people like that couple even broke up due to that. Like due to getting called out, the amount of stress from that made them break up with each other. The guy, the artist, even tried to blame his girlfriend, even though he was part of that too. He was a bully as well. So yeah, like people sometimes just feel comfortable being super rude and high school bully level on stream. So yeah. Yeah. So don't think about what they say. Yep. Hello, it's been such a long time since I joined one of your streams. How are you? I'm doing wonderfully well, thank you. Some don't think about what they say. Yeah, guess they never left high school. Oh. I'm so sorry about it, Psycho. I'm glad you're better. Alright, this next one is from Kia Kitsune. The worst collab experience I had was actually not a bad collab. The aftermath was ridiculous. Had a lovely collab with a VTuber, a little smaller than I am. Things went good. Played for a few hours, my friend and said VTuber. The next day though, ooh, this is like a cliffhanger. This is what they teach you in webtoon school. It's like, yeah, you gotta end every few panels. You gotta end every third or fourth panel on a cliffhanger. so that people keep scrolling. Well, you got me hooked. The next day, though, you got me hooked. I noticed a VTuber had me blocked on all her platforms. I was a bit confused by that as I thought we had a good time. Come to find out, she was mad because one of her quote-unquote Oilers had sent my friend money and something on phone. I didn't do anything. But how did we find out? Well, their Oiler told us about the events leading up to it. Oiler talked to the VTuber and she threw a tantrum, even broke the items the Oiler had previously sent to her in a childish fit. We didn't know they came from her stream until they told us. And that's when I decided. No more collabs with other VTubers. I'm not here to take nobody's Oilers or whatever. I support anyone getting their bag. You do you. But don't act like I did something malicious to steal your Oiler. The fucking term Oiler is so funny. I'm sorry, but referring to someone as an Oiler is crazy. Like, okay, we can joke around. Like, if someone donates a lot, I'll call them an oil princess or an oil prince. But in full legitimacy, getting mad over your quote-unquote Oiler is so funny. That's kind of funny, okay? That, like, throwing a tantrum and breaking the thing your Oiler bought you on phone is crazy work. That's insane. It's sad. A lot of VTubers not collab anymore because of these experiences. Yeah. So this is definitely the craziest thing I've heard here, but I've had this sort of thing happen before. Like, people get mad over that. People do get obsessive over, like, do get possessive over their viewers. People get obsessive over their top donors, and some people, like, I think we talk a lot about this thing with parasocial and possessiveness of viewers over their VTubers. VTubers who get obsessive over their favorite VTuber, VTubers who get obsessive and who get possessive and who get upset when their favorite VTuber shows attention to someone who is not them. That happens. But something that is not often mentioned is also that this goes in the other direction as well. There are situations where VTubers get possessive over their viewers. I think it's inevitable. VTubing used to be that the VTubers that did exist back in the early days were very big because the scene was very new. The people who started VTubing early enough were kind of breaking new ground, and they had audiences that were large enough to the point where they didn't really end up needing to be very possessive. But nowadays you have so many VTubers and the audiences are spread thin enough that you have many VTubers. The average VTuber gets like only maybe 10 or 20 viewers. Even full-time VTubers can sometimes get that amount. Sometimes I've seen people who consider 20 viewers to even be a lot. And when you have such small, tight-knit communities, the power imbalance kind of switches. And VTubers tend to, at that level, get a lot more of a close relationship to their closest viewers, because it also becomes kind of necessary in those situations. You'll have, and I've seen this happen before, I've seen a VTuber who got maybe about 50 to 100 viewers. That's a good amount, yeah? But they were earning about $10,000 to $15,000 a month. Particularly because they had such a close bond with a few viewers. Like maybe their 2 or 3 top donators. Had a very close relationship and provided a lot of personal attention to these few kind of, as is referred to in this tweet kind of humorously, Oilers. And I think that can be very good. But, and in this specific situation, I have no reason to believe that the VTuber I know in that situation had any sort of negative experience, but I'll tell you another story. Once upon a time, there was a certain femboy VTuber. Now, this certain femboy VTuber had a certain top donator. This top donator would donate anything from $5,000 to $10,000 every single month. Now, this was all fun and games and wonderful until that top donator starts becoming very, very possessive. Start wanting to have a very personal relationship with said femboy VTuber. Now, he did not want that close relationship, and it ended up causing a rift that ended up causing drama between them, which turned said top donator into a stalker and a harasser that would obsess over and religiously hate on this small femboy VTuber for years. That's negative. But did you know that the reverse can also happen? I know of situations where certain viewers have gotten VTubers who have become obsessive over them to the point where if they don't show up in chat, that VTuber will DM them and try to guilt them into going on their stream, will actively sometimes ask for donations from the person in DMs, and will actively seek out this sort of relationship from the viewer. And that is a situation that is a very, very, because maybe you're a fan of said VTuber, maybe you do like and have, you know, have positive feelings for this VTuber. And so to have that VTuber kind of try and exploit that sort of feeling in private and push you to donate or to watch can be very uncomfortable. It's almost the plot of a horror game when you think about it. It's almost like My Side, right? Oh, my favorite that's almost a horror webtoon. That's actually a great idea for a horror webtoon. Hold on, let me write that down. Horror webtoon idea. Possessive VTuber gets possessive of a viewer. Yeah, that's a good horror. That's like a yandere horror kind of webtoon. Write that down. Write that down. Anyway, that happens. And what can you really do in that situation? What can you really do at the end of the day? Not much. Sort of try and cut ties. But what if that VTuber then gets mad at you for watching a different VTuber? It's crazy. Those sort of things happen all the time. I would say put up your boundaries for your own safety. And viewers, you also need to have boundaries. Of course you do. The yandere character type didn't come out of nowhere. Exactly. Definitely not. Okay. Next up. Where did it go? Okay, this is not posted by Shoto, so I'm going to move on to stuff posted by VTubers. When I was a baby streamer, I reached out to a bigger streamer who had raided me and asked them if they'd like to collab on a game we both played. Context, I only had a couple of hundred followers and they had 2 or 3k. They said yes. I was super excited, but also really nervous, because I had never really collabed with anyone I perceived as bigger, so I didn't want to be awkward on their stream. Day of collab comes, and I DM'd them a few hours prior, talking via X, and asked them if I need the VTube Studio DLC that lets you put their models together on screen. He said yes, I need to buy it, no problem, bought it, even watched a video, how it worked. Collab time comes, I DM asking if we should hop in a Discord call. She hits me with a huh? I'm not streaming tonight. Kind of response. Confused. Asked if I mixed up our dates. She said no, that she cancelled her streams for tonight and that I should have seen it in her Discord announcement. Mind you, I'm not in her Discord, never have been. I just said okay, moved on. Declined ever rescheduling because I respect myself more than that. Now that I've grown as a person, it's always super overtly friendly. Now that I've grown, this person is always super overtly friendly to me. That they even remember this, because I was just some tiny streamer at the time. So the collab was probably nothing to them. I can't help but think they would have handled it differently if I were bigger, though. Yeah, that's crazy. That's messed up. Oh, hey, Merpenny. That is messed up. That is a messed up thing to do. I feel like so many of these situations is just people being rude for no reason and canceling collabs for no reason. And like not informing the other person. Like, how big of a big shot are you? Oh, you should have seen it on my Discord announcements. Didn't you check my Discord? I cancelled streams for tonight. It's a little cringe. Come on. I don't know. That's a little stupid. Anyway, Umi Kyoku. I'm not going to talk too much about this because that VTuber schedules collab and doesn't show up and expects the other person to just be fine with that without them ever giving notice. We've talked about that a few times. An astonishing amount of people's collab issues spawn from just that. Ugh. I died in the game and got told I deserved to die, and then everyone started to join in and describe in elaborate detail different ways I deserved to die for almost 10 minutes while laughing, and I didn't want to speak after that. That was the first time I ever met any of them. So this is what do you do even after they say that generally it's a double-edged sword situation? I was just quiet, I didn't know what to do about it, never spoke to any of them again afterwards. I was really new to streaming at the time, I didn't know the etiquette to stand up for myself. It sucked pretty hard. It was a mixed group, and I go kill yourself with my friends all the time, but being told in a new group, yeah, you deserve to get shot in the face. Oh, what if she got hit by a car and said, yeah, haha, that would be even better. That's so uncomfortable. Happened almost 10 years ago. Yeah, again, this seems to be like pre-VTubing. I do feel like people in as much as VTubers can be inconsiderate, I feel like VTubers wouldn't do that nowadays. I do feel like people's social skills online have evolved to the point where that's not really a thing that'll happen because people have given enough backlash on Twitter for bad social skills that is a thing that, I don't know. That is a thing that won't happen because people know that there would be a lot of backlash from it. Irregardless, it seems to me like they were probably joking, but that is a very rude joke to make, especially with someone you haven't built that kind of rapport with. So yeah, try to be nice to people. This is something that Eva told me in collabs. If you're gonna make jokes about someone or make fun of someone, make sure that those jokes elevate the other person. If you're gonna make jokes about someone or make fun of them, make sure that it's something that, elevates them. Like, dude, why are you so good at math? What are you, a nerd? That's a joke that kind of sounds like it's playful in a way that it's like you're teasing them, but you're saying something positive about them, Like, can you stop being so good at puzzles? You're making me feel like you're making me feel like an idiot, or something like that, or like, dude, how much do you play this game? What are you playing this game every night? Or something. Like, set people up for a compliment instead of like, dude, you're so bad, or something. That's not nice. Anyway, oh, this one's a big one. This is from Malvina from SVA. Sox VTuber agency. I often have people making fun of my accent. But there was one time in particular I almost left the collab before it had even gone live. I was invited by a friend at the time to a group collab, so wanted to be respectful. But one person immediately latched onto my voice and started putting on an exaggerated accent in a mocking manner. Anytime I tried to join the conversation, she'd laugh and go and do the, oh my god, can anyone even understand her thing to try and be funny. I eventually went silent because why bother? Took everything in me to not leave before we went live. I only stayed for my friend's sake, and she reached out after to apologize, which I appreciated. But something being said at the time would have been nice, or even an acknowledgement from the girl mocking me. It's one of the big reasons I was anxious about all of you hearing me. I know my accent is a surprise on first encounters, but being mocked knocks my confidence to the point where I remember asking Flork if he'd prefer I debut with an American accent. I don't mind. No, never. Please don't. Please don't. We have enough American accents. No more. Please. Please stop. I don't mind my friends having little jabs now and again, since I know it's friendly and I can mock them just as much for about it. Like, I've had it with these goddamn Americans and their basic ass accent. I have listened to your accents for long enough. Please something else, okay? And I'm not like, you can have an American accent. Can you have an Appalachian accent, or like a Southern American accent or something? Can you have something interesting other than the Joe New York accent? Because I'm sick of that one. That one I'm sick of. I don't want that one anymore. So whatever accent Malfina has, I bet it's better than the fucking transatlantic or Los Angeles accent. I've had it with that. I've had it. I don't mind my friends having little jabs now and again, since I know it's friendly and I can mock them just as much. For a stranger to do that shit is another thing. All of you enjoying my voice has helped me a lot, and I'm scared to play into it now. This is brilliant marketing, Malfina, because you've made me want to go to your channel now. Ooh, you're following me, no way. Time to rate the accent. Time to play my favorite game of rate the accent. Let's hear. Come on.
Somebody just stole my son.
Oh, it's a beautiful Scottish accent. I thought she was going to be Italian.
Forget Steiner. I wonder where Flork is. Cool stuff coming. Yay!
Quote, accent. Oh, poor Malfina. Malfi's accent has been complimented 103 times. Hold on. She is... Where is she? Is she Scottish? I think she's Scottish. Where's she from? Where's she from? Who doesn't like this accent? Absolutely garbage to your taste.
Yay!
That is a beautiful accent.
He's been mage napped. Seems like it.
God, a beautiful accent. It's like way fucking better than a basic ass American accent, Malfina. Fuck those people. You're amazing, and you should be proud of your accent. You should wear it on your sleeve. It's so much better than a fuck ass Cali accent. I don't fucking want that anymore. Enough. I've had enough. I'm sorry to everyone with a Cali accent. You do sound nice, but let's be real. It's overused. I've had enough of it. You can have it, but let's stop it. No more. The ones who have it, you can keep having it, but let's ban any other people from having it from now on here forward. And I've had enough. You know what? Yeah, go follow Malfina. She's lovely. Don't ever feel sad about having an interesting and awesome, unique accent. Don't you ever dare feel sad about having an interesting accent. All accents are awesome, and I promise you, a lot of the time, it's not even the accent that's the problem. A lot of the time when people feel bad about their accent or something, it's not the accent that's the problem, even if you feel like you could do better. A lot of the time, it comes down to diction, and it comes down to practice. Any accent can be beautiful through stream. And I mean, Malfina probably debuted like a while ago, right? When did she debut? Let me see. We go back to the earliest clip. 7 months ago. So like, if we go back to like the very beginning, hold on, Scotland. Hold on.
They show you first. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, whoops. That's for a different project. Reminds me I never spoke online because one time when I was 13, I made fun of by my British accent. My Americans and I didn't talk on any VCs for 5 years. Oh, I mean, the British accent is, you know, we make fun of it, but let's be real, it sounds nice. I mean, most accents sound nice. Please never hide your accent. Never put on a fucking fake American accent if you've got an actual, like, accent from your local place. Like, accents are awesome. And one of the things I love about modern day video gaming is that games aren't afraid to put in funny, weird, crazy accents from all over the place. Nowadays, we'll have video games like big gacha RPGs. Like, we were playing Wuthering Waves like the other day, and there were like Irish and Scottish and Scandinavian voice actors in there. Like in Arknight's Enfield, they now have actual like Chinese voice actors with Chinese accents for the English voices. So like, yeah, I think we need to celebrate the fact that we need to celebrate our differences. Don't look up what that song is from. Don't look that up. That's a highly offensive song. Don't look that up. Do not look that song up, okay? Mary. You know that song, Rich? Hell nah. That's from, actually, fuck you. I'm not gonna tell you what that's from, okay? I'm not gonna tell you what that's from. Don't look that up. I'm not self-reporting here. Not self-reporting here. Okay. I absolutely don't. It's not from South Park. Anyway, putting collabs with male VTubers without notice. I'm sorry, what? Why am I catching strays now? No, it's is this from a viewer perspective? I don't know. There are some. Okay, listen. Let's broach this topic here. There are some. By the way, I just want to end it on saying, Malfina, if you ever listen to this, you've got a beautiful, gorgeous accent. The Scottish accent is one of my absolute favorites. I love and adore it. Please never think you have to have a generic ass accent. You sound beautiful as you are. Please never quit that. Okay, now to talk about male collabs. Now to get into the shit. Some VTuber fans and even some female VTubers don't want to collab with men. This is a hot button topic. I have a take on I have a very Fin City take on this. And my take is that I actually kind of get it. I think a lot of people give idol culture a bad rap. But to be honest, I think everyone is allowed to make their own choices. And if you're a female VTuber and you don't wanna, and if you wanna follow idol code of conduct and you don't wanna collab with a man, I think that should be respected. And I think that's totally fine. And I think it's a fine and respectable preference to have. I think it's totally cool. No one should have to collab with male VTubers, to be honest. I know, right? Fucking men. It's okay. More male VTubers for me to collab with. That's okay, girls. I'll take the men. Don't you worry about that. I'll handle it. Don't you worry, ladies. Mary's here. He'll handle it. I'll take them for you. Happy Pride Month. You're a girl's girl, Mary. Thank you. No, I think idol culture is valid. Idol culture gets a bad rep because, let's be honest, there are a lot of sorry. Idol culture is valid, but let's be honest, there are also a lot of negative aspects to it. In Japan, in Korea, there are many different negative aspects to idol culture. Let's be honest, a lot of the industry in Asia is very predatory. A lot of those girls barely get paid anything. They get taken advantage of. I can totally understand why idol culture to a lot of people feel like it gives a lot of people a bad taste. It leaves a lot of people with a bad taste in their mouth. But I don't think that necessarily has to mean we gotta throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think idol culture is valid. The idea of, oh, we're a bunch of boys and we have this beautiful goddess who we love and support, and we cheer her on, and we selflessly like support her, and we buy all her merch, and you know we show up to her events, and we do our dances with our light sticks, and we support her and we love her. She's our goddess. I think that can be pure. That can be the purest form of love. And I think there's a beauty in that. And I think, yeah, there are fans that take that too far. There are fans that go into debt buying CDs to go to those handshake events, which I don't necessarily like. And there are fans that obsess over their idol. There are fans that try to get close to their idol. But I think the real idol fans, the like proper idol fans that are in Japan even, they would consider those fans as not being proper idol fans. And the real idol fans is that it's a selfless love. It's a selfless love that means you don't want your idol to notice you. You just want to be a part of this like hive mind crowd where you cheer on someone else. And I think there can be a beauty in that. And I think that can be fine. Ushikatsu is cute too, yeah. And I've been to many of these like different events. I've been to VTuber concerts, and I've seen some of these people, and I've seen how like they show up with all their Oshi's merch, and you know they give out little gifts. I went to a concert for a big Japanese Hololive talent. Just to experience it, and I went, and there were guys like giving out little gifts to other guys. Like there was a guy who asked me like, "Are you a fan of her? Are you a fan?" Like in Japanese, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a fan." And then they gave me like gifts and stuff, and that's pure. That's pure-hearted. That's lovely. That's community building. That is human. It is human at its very core. It is people getting together to love and appreciate a special interest, and that special interest can be a person. That's valid. So yeah, I think idol culture has its place, and if a female VTuber wants to uphold idol culture, you know what? I support it. I cheer her on. Go for it. I don't need to collab with you. I'm perfectly happy. I think, and that's why, like, there are certain VTubers that I won't try to reply to on Twitter. I won't try to interact with them because I see those things. Like, for an example, Fuwamoko. You guys might not know it, but I respect and love and admire Fuwamoko a lot. I think they're amazing. But I'm not replying to them on Twitter. I'm not trying to interact with them. I'm not trying to put myself into it. And there's a reason why I don't do that. And that's because they're idols. They want to be idols, and I respect that. It's the same way. My biggest interaction with Fuwamoco that I've ever had was me getting to give them their VTuber award. During the VTuber Awards hosted by Filion, I was given the honor of announcing Fuwamoco as being, I think it was like VTuber of the Year or something. Something like that. So I got to give them that award. I got to read out the nominations and I got to hand them out that award. Now, they weren't there. They didn't interact with the awards. But I got to give them that award and I was very happy to do that. That's the biggest interaction I've ever had with Fuwamoco. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I think we do need to respect that. But I also think if certain female VTubers want to collab with men, that also needs to be respected, you know? That also needs to be respected. Yes. It's also why, like, if like Hololive talent commission Merryweather Media for like content, like say they commission like a lore video, I'm gonna be very, because I'm very aware of my situation as a male VTuber, and I'm gonna be very wary to not interact with it on my VTuber account. I'm interacting through the studio account, and to hold a certain professional standard. They're hiring me as a writer. They're not hiring me as John VTuber, male man 47, and that doesn't mean I get to interact with them as Merryweather the VTuber. So I'm very aware of that. Now, if it's an indie, of course I'm gonna be all up in there. I'm gonna be chatting about it as a VTuber, you know. I'm gonna be part of it. But if it's an idol VTuber, I'm gonna be very aware and respectful of that. And I'm gonna do my job as a writer. I'm gonna be professional, and not, you know, I'm not gonna overstep the boundary of that professional collaboration. Yes. Sorry if I went on a rant there. Anyway, let's continue. I once tried to befriend another small VTuber when we were still small. I asked them for a collab, and they agreed on the set date we made. Before the stream starts, I reminded them about the date, tried to call them a couple of times. They came late by nearly an hour. So this time we have a situation where someone came late by nearly a whole hour, instead of not just showing up. So at least this person showed up. When I asked them about it midstream, they said they're sleepy. Stream went okay, but I found out later from a third party that they said behind my back that it was the worst collab I've ever had, and that me and my chat bullied them for being up late. Huh? I don't know. If you agree to a time, it's also on you to not show up late. And if you're sleepy, you gotta be okay with them being like making a joke about it. That's on you. Definitely on you. Yeah, that sucks. Reminds me of a situation. So once upon a time, I agreed to a collab and I made the mistake of showing up sleepy and potentially under-prepared. Now, I thought it was fine. I was just trying. But I found out later. Now, this person has apologized to me and it's fine. We're fine. There's no problem here, okay? But it is funny, so I'm going to talk about it. Apparently, they thought I was high. They thought I had partaken in the devil's lettuce, also known as the weed. I don't smoke weed, okay? I've never done that. They thought I was high. It's like, how American-brained are you? They thought I took an edible. I was just sleepy as fuck, dude. I'm sorry. Now, it's my fault for agreeing to a time slot that I knew I was gonna be, like, staying up late. They think too highly of the dog. Yeah. I was really just sleepy, okay? I was just sleepy. Now, the way I found out is they were like... No, I don't think that... I don't know. Like, they were telling other people that they had a bad experience collabing, and I went and confronted them about it, and then they were like, yeah, man, like, you showed up and you were like super like off and like really underprepared, and I think you took, like, it seems like you took an, they didn't even say it seems like, they straight up said you took an edible. And they were talking about it with such certainty. I'm pretty sure they mentioned it to other people. I'm like, I have never done the devil's lettuce in my life, okay? I'm way too nerdy for that. I'm way too much of a sheltered Scandinavian nerd to partake in the devil's lettuce. I would never do such a thing. So I was just sleepy dog mode. I do feel bad, and I did apologize to them for showing up sleepy. I do feel that's on me. If you make plans, it's on you to be hype and energetic for that. And it is your fault if you show up not ready for it. I think many people have had that happen. But I have definitely never partaken of the devil's lettuce. So please don't say that, yes. Am I crazy? Like 80% of the VTubers I know personally smoke weed. Well, everyone was chill about it. I don't know if 80% of the VTubers I know do drugs. I don't know what to say about that. I will say none of the ones I know do drugs, okay? We're all good little boys and girls. We don't do drugs. None of the ones I know do drugs. I do copious amounts of caffeine, though, if that counts. Here's from Kishin. Kishin Shinobi. Cool guy. One of the last bigger collabs I did years ago was on my birthday. And a MF got cancelled with a Google Doc releasing in the middle of the collab. They said they needed to leave early, and I gave a nice, no worries, thanks for coming. When I opened Twitter after, I'm like, OMG. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, here we got Mummy Maple potentially demonetizing my stream. Thank you for that, Maple. Collab with the streamer. She then proceeded to copy every one of my streams down to the title, come into my chat, and tell my viewers to sub to her in exchange for naked pictures. After being banned, continue to lurk on her alt and whisper my subs and VIPs to watch her, not me. So that's crazy. That is very on the nose. That is very shameless. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, that's just straight up shameless and horrible. Does that actually work, though? I don't think so. That definitely feels like someone who doesn't really know what they're doing. Why would you ever watch someone who sends you unsolicited messages? Exactly. Again, falls back to this whole. Hold on, sorry. There's a quick thing. Ooh, finished comic. Hold on. I'm sorry, chat. I'm too much of a. I need to see this. I need to see my finished comic book. Comic book. Okay, it's done. Okay, sorry. All right. There we go. All right, you're a good dog. Yep. I need to see my comic. I need to see my finished comic. I'm such an absolute child. Anyway, horrible person. I'm sorry to hear that, Mummy Maple. Thanks for demonetizing my stream, by the way. This is where I take a short break. Gonna be right back. Don't go anywhere. Woof. Where's my BRB? I don't have a BRB screen. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna be right back. Oh, hey, by the way, shout out to my cleaning lady, who, yeah, I've got a cleaning lady because I'm a man-child and I don't know how to clean. Shout out to my cleaning lady, who saw €5,000 lying on my table and packed it all up nicely together and put it in my bag. Thanks, cleaning lady. Dude, I'm sorry, cleaning lady. I'm not gonna tempt you like that next time. But you're going to heaven, 100%. Honestly, that's the kind of thing I need to give her a tip for. I forgot I had the money out. And she packs it up nicely. I do feel like I've tipped her enough that she's loyal to me. She's a loyal cleaning lady. Alright. Here we go. Thanks for not robbing me, lady. Okay. I was collabing with someone until this pick-me girl came to his chat asking him to play Valorant with her. But because I don't play Valorant, he proceeds to drag him away from the collab, replaced me with 3 other guys, and ignored my existence altogether. Don't have a lot to say about this one. This one sucks. Oh boy. Ooh. A stream team, Texas Chainsaw Massacre collab. 4 people. I missed that game. Host messages us less than an hour before the collab. Hey, I invited XYZ to join us. I hope that's okay. 5 people now. TCM is a 4-player game. XYZ is a bigger VTuber. Oh, I know what's gonna happen here. This makes me very anxious. We take turns expressing our concerns. One steps out to make room. I step down due to guilt, them being left out, severe anxiety. The third one steps out due to anxiety. None of the original people were in the collab. Host crashes out. Anxiety is for IRL things, not online. You're a content creator. This is just an excuse. This is business. I got over my anxiety. I'm confused. So no one was pressured out? I guess adding in another person last minute, I don't know. I guess it's a bit awkward, right? I guess I'm wondering is it anxiety inducing because I think in those kind of situations what you do is you take turns. I do think it's okay to have like an extra person join if it's someone cool that everyone knows, you know. I do think it does need to be handled. Everyone leaving due to anxiety, I don't know. I feel like I need more information on this one. I do also suffer from anxiety, so I understand. Let's see. This one is from Glass's Journal. Thankfully, I haven't had any horrible collab experiences, as most of them have been generally very lovely. But I do run into the occasion of collabing with people, and all they do is talk about Ray/Achievement Hunter to get me through to me throughout the entire collab. Oh, you just see me as nothing more than his employer. Yikes. I'm sorry, who's this? Ray? Oh, Ray. No, it is the Ray I know. Ray Navarez. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that sucks. That sucks. You're like affiliated with a person who has a bigger audience than you. And then when you collab with them, all you do, then when someone collabs with you, all they do is talk about that person. That can really suck. I do think that's very rude. That's another situation where people really have to be mindful and sensible of other people. Like, at least pretend that's not why you're there. Maybe 1 or 2 like little things, right? But like, don't spend the entire collab talking about someone else, right? That's silly. Collab with a male YouTuber that I thought was a friend, only to have him say, I could see myself dating you. We were both live, so I felt like I couldn't say anything about it, and so I kept quiet for another 2 hours until stream was over. I was too anxious to say anything though, so I just slowly distanced myself. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, chat. Do you think this one... Do you think he was just trying to tell a joke and made it awkward? I could see myself dating you. Maybe he was trying to give her a compliment. Again, this is me trying to assume ignorance over ill intention. It could be that he just didn't... Like, he just made an awkward comment. Like, you can be awkward with a female friend. Like, speaking as someone with a lot of female friends, I'm a VTuber. Most of my friends are female. Like, that just happens if you're in this space. A lot of the men who are in this space are businessmen and not VTubers themselves. So I run into situations where I was having a dinner at Dokumi actually. And I was at this dinner. And at this dinner was like me, Lumi. Every other VTuber at the table was a girl. And the other half of the table were guys. And all of them were businessmen, not VTubers. So I do feel like I'm that rare. I'm the rare businessman who actually tried to do it also instead of just managing. I'm the odd one that also wanted to be a cat girl. Okay. So I have a lot of female friends. I can tell you, like, yeah, like, you know, I've had female friends and I've grown up with 3 older sisters, so I don't really have those awkward situations, but I can definitely sympathize with a guy accidentally saying something to a female friend that is, like, that is inappropriate, because there is a certain level of decorum that is expected of you when you have an opposite gender friend. And you know, it is a thing you gotta navigate around a little bit, right? Because, like, if I've got a male friend, like, if it's Ash, I can mud wrestle Ash. I can just run up to him and start punching him and hugging him and giving him, like, a noogie, you know? I can be, like, physical with Ash. But if it's Toro, I'm not gonna be physical with Toro in the same way, you know? Even if she's my friend, in every single way, same as Ash. Fully platonic, a sisterly bond, sisterly brotherly bond. I'm not going to be physical with Toro because there's a certain level of decorum. She's a girl, right? She is someone of the opposite gender, and I cannot assume that she would be comfortable with that. Now, of course, you also cannot assume that someone's going to be comfortable as a man with that level of physical, but you know, that there is a gender thing. There is just a gender thing, right? Hold on. There is a certain gender thing. So I do sympathize with guys who end up in awkward situations. Anyway, moving on. Multiple occasions where I've joined get made fun of for how my voice sounds. People think I force my voice, not knowing the amount of pain I deal with in my throat every single day. Okay, we have to listen now. Let's hear him out.
Mary, how are you? And the only reason you have so many female friends is because you have too much charm.
I appreciate that, but no, that's not why. I think I have female friends because I'm in a female-dominated profession, and I hopefully am just a nice, chill guy who isn't a weirdo who hits on girls who are friends with me. So that's why I think I have female friends. I don't think it's because I have charm. I appreciate the 1,000 bits though. Thank you.
Thank you. You are your motivational kisses, you. There we go.
No, don't be rude in chat, Chromia. No. We don't be rude. I just didn't expect it. I didn't expect to get kissed in my earlobe. I mean, you know, I think the whole thing about like, oh, I've faked a voice or whatever, it's stupid. It's a dumb thing, and it's also a dumb thing to say.
What about the ones that are outside the binary?
Because we're all fictional characters. We're all animated characters. We expect, like, what do you expect? Of course, people. You think SpongeBob sounds like that in real life? I don't know why SpongeBob is always my go-to, but no, you really need to, like, this whole thing with like, oh, you're forcing your voice, you're faking your voice. Shut the fuck up. We're voice actors, basically. I also don't always sound like I sound on stream in real life. I kind of fade in and out of it. Like, I have a phone voice. And like, whether or not someone puts on a voice, I don't think it matters. I think people get defensive over it and say they don't. Some people may force their voice. I'm of the opinion that some people may force their voice, but there's nothing wrong with that. You have a good voice, Craven. Big thumbs up. Didn't expect the kisses. This one's just a joke. She's talking about herself. A long time ago, I collabed with this person who 10 minutes before the collab called me on Discord and told me I wasn't allowed to use certain perks or perk combos because she didn't like being associated with that type of gameplay. I think one of the combos was FTP plus BU or some other strong perks like pre-nerf adrenaline. At the time, she was a bigger creator than me, and I had already announced to Twitter that I was collabing with them, so I just agreed and did the collab. But she was such a weirdo. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you don't want your collab partner to use a certain loadout in a game, I think it's kind of a fair ask. Maybe it's a little bit of an odd ask, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, well, you can only play with those perks. I think it's fine. Just play the game without those perks. Like, just, they're doing a collab with you. Humor them. It's okay to have like an odd request. Like, I've had people begin a collab with me. I had one person before collab tell me, hey, I really don't feel comfortable with anything related to sex or any sexual jokes or even any lewd jokes or anything of the sort being mentioned at all. I'm like, okay, I guess I won't talk about fucking bitches then. They didn't laugh at my joke, but nevertheless, I perfectly acquiesced to their request, of course, because it is, you know, they are agreeing to come on your stream. And actually, I regret making that joke to them. I regret making that joke. I think that was a stupid moment of me. But I regret making it. But I definitely respect that, of course. And I wouldn't have gone out of my way to make sexualized jokes to begin with anyway. So I think it's fine. I do think if you have someone on your stream, or if you're collabing with someone, you do need to a certain level, be okay with them having asks of you, having certain boundaries, having certain weird requests, and that might be about the game. So actually, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking them not to use a certain loadout in a video game. I think that's totally fine. It's totally fine. I remember a collab at the beginning of my career where the other girl kept trying to flirt with my husband. After he said, please do not do that, it was really awkward, and after the collab I chewed her out for disrespecting my husband's wishes, and frankly disrespecting me, and she got mad at me and called me selfish and other names. How dare you not share your husband? Yeah, that was something. The other girl has since graduated. Couldn't imagine why someone like that didn't last in the streaming. Okay. Truly a mystery. And that was the tough life lesson I learned. I shouldn't be collabing with people without meeting them offline and casually chatting with them first. Yeah. So, I mean, don't flirt with someone's husband. That's definitely a no-go. But another thing is, I do think you do need to, what they say at the end is true. I don't know if you need to meet someone in real life before collabing with. I do definitely think that you do need to, because I've heard enough horror stories about this kind of thing. Like, you agree to a collab with someone, you barely know them, suddenly they start going off about politics or making like the most offensive jokes you can imagine or talking about super uncomfortable topics. That can happen. If you don't vet who you're collabing with, that can absolutely happen. So you do gotta vet who you're collabing with, get to know them a bit first, maybe research their streams, check if there's any, you know, maybe check other collabs they've done first, see if you're comfortable with the way they behave in collabs. Definitely. Ooh, Sunhee. Oof, yeah. One time I was invited to sponsor. You know, my deepest fear is reading one of these and then they're talking about me. I know that won't happen because I haven't really had many like uncomfortable collabs in my time, and most of them has just been me spilling my spaghetti. Like that time with Kilkanako and Lord Ethelstan, where I was making fun of Pippa Pipkin, and I end up coming across like I'm the most cringe collab ever, where I end up coming across like I'm insulting Pippa. And it's super cringe, and Kyo and Ethelstan just hang me out to dry. They're just like, you have no idea what you're talking about, Mary. I don't know about that, bro. It's like they just fucking, oh, those two. They just hang me out to dry. They don't help me get out of it at all, those two bastards. God. That's the most painful collab I've ever been a part of. Definitely. Yeah, so we don't talk about that one. Yeah, you talked the whole night, gotta lay in it. Yep. I was cringe. I posted cringe, so now I must, I posted cringe, so I must lie in my own shame for that one. But, I mean, you guys try to stream for 5 years without having a few cringe moments. It happens. If you're trying to be entertaining, trying to find things to talk about, you're going to inevitably end up being cringe. I can assure you there are so many cringe moments from my streams that I hope to God don't get dug up. But that one, that's definitely the worst one I can recall. That one in the bunny suit, I think. Anyway, I learned about the game. One time I was super excited, so I learned about the game I was asked to play. When we started to play, I was immediately targeted by one person because I knew how to play. So I essentially was unable to play the game because I kept getting voted off. Said person would make sort of mean remarks, and I felt so uncomfortable. At one point it was just us in the chat, people got voted off, and they didn't seem like they wanted to talk to me. To this day, I feel so disheartened by that collab. Ooh, yeah, that hurts. I think she's referring to Among Us. Getting targeted and kind of ganged up on in Among Us can definitely hurt. Like a good amount. Like a certain good amount. You're giving me a lot of a video. Seriously. Oh, fuck. Yeah. It sucks. No, it always sucks. I've had very few bad experiences, but one of the first ones at a Minecraft event was a Squid Game type thing, I think, probably crab game. There were a lot of people IRL, and us VTubers were a total minority. Some of the participants started saying things like censored VTuber, lol. After that little group formed to kill all the VTubers, some people even came to my chat to say dumb stuff. And I think some of the guys who insulted got banned from the event. You think that even to this day there's VTuber discrimination? There are definitely flesh tubers, I say. Like IRL streamers who try to be edgy and who still have that kind of like high school bully mentality. And who do target people who are weird, like VTubers. That's definitely a thing. I mean, we saw it with Iron Mouse and those two guys who walked up to her and like were asking her ethnicity and what she looks like and stuff, right? Like whenever you have anything where you're like, you know, you're the one practicing the weird, like the weird or unusual thing, other people are gonna try and make fun of you because they, you know, they think that it makes them look cool. I think it's the most cringe thing ever. I think it's the most embarrassing thing ever to be rocking like a high school mentality as an adult, as a professional streamer. It's moronic. This was like at the beginning of my VTuber career. Oh, hold on, I've got something in my tooth. Hold on, I've got something in my tooth. I can't read it without this out of my tooth. Hold on, chat. This is important. It's important. It's very important. Okay. So. Okay, let's read. I got it out of my tooth. I had a little thing stuck in my tooth from some nuts I was eating earlier. This was like the beginning of my VTuber career. This is from Showy VT. This was like the beginning of my VTuber career, and I had a VTuber who was extremely pushy and very demanding. They would DM me asking me to promote our collab every day and a week in advance. Don't forget to tag me. Make sure you put my Twitch link, put my PNG in the picture. Are you posting it on all your socials? Ooh. The day arrives and an hour passes by from our scheduled time, and I messaged him asking, hey, are we still on? No reply. But I see the notification they went live in their server, and I'm like, oh, okay. So go live and tag them in my title and put in their chat. So excited, let me know when you're ready. Ignored my chat, their stream. So I messaged them again on Discord, letting them know I'm in VC and ready for them. I'm doing spike rushes on Valorant while waiting for them, and I run into them on accident on the enemy team, and they're being toxic as F and teabagging me and typing L and all this other stuff, and I had their stream tabbed, and I saw they had their chat being toxic and mean as well. So I go to another region in the game, so I don't play with them again, keep playing my game and remove them from my title, and streamed a couple of hours and waited out. Messaged them, hey, if you didn't want to collab with me, you could have let me know. It's not a big deal, but I waited around. Their response was, yeah, I didn't realize your view count was that low. Oh my, oh, that's the worst one we've read. Oh, that's almost, oh, no, I still think Psycho's the worst one, but this one is horrible. This is horrible. They stopped streaming altogether because they got caught being toxic and mean and using people. Oh, what? Oh, that's that's painful. What the hell? Are you kidding me? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with that person? That is just to the point of almost being mentally deficient. That is legitimately like a 60 IQ move. I legitimately believe this person is like actually like sub 60 IQ for doing this. This is such a horrible thing to do. You know, it's kind of like mean and bad people tend to be unintelligent. This feels like that. It's like you could get so much farther in life by being nice to people, and they don't get that. They don't understand that. Oh my god. So yeah, at first I was like, okay, they're being a little pushy, right? They're being a little pushy. I mean, it's not inherently wrong. It can just, you know, it can be chalked up to, okay, they're just kind of, they're not very sensible. I have had people who are a little pushy about like, okay, make sure you promote it. Make sure you tag me. Please make sure you do this, right? Like I've had people who are very like that. But I get it. We all, we want to grow. We all want to, like, if you're collabing with someone, you're going to give them a platform. So you probably want to make sure they're giving you a platform as well. That's fine. the fact that they don't, like, they ghost them and then teabag them in the game and then say, then when messaged, hey, why, like, if you didn't want to collab with me, you could have let me know. This reply is the craziest thing. The audacity of this bitch is insane. Never had anything like that. I'm so sorry to Shoei. That is insane. I almost want to read the replies now. She's not giving any more context. Yeah, anyway, that's crazy. That is actually insane. All right. Yeah. So, about a year ago, when I started feeling comfortable, this is from Saya from V Candy. About a year ago, when I started feeling comfortable to do collabs, again, a pretty well-known male VTuber invited me to a repo collab with about 9 other people. I was really nervous jumping into VC since I was new on there. I was pretty quiet in call and someone said something pretty NSFW and I said, oh my stars. And everyone thought that was funny. Okay. They started to mock me and asked me, who says that? And all started to laugh at me. I left crying and wrote to the host about what happened and he never wrote back saying sorry, anything at all. Okay. You know, it's a character. I mean, this... Oh my stars, you know, that's like a cute, wholesome way of saying something. And then people make a little bit of a joke about it, and I think that can be fine, but I think those kind of situations, if it's someone you don't know, maybe don't joke too much about it. You know what I mean? Don't joke too much about it. It's like what we go back to before. It's a lesson I've learned from someone, a certain manager. If you're gonna make a joke about someone, make sure it's a joke that elevates them. Don't make fun of people in a way that, like, pulls them down. You have to compliment people through the jokes you make if you don't know them well enough. You have to be very comfortable with someone before you can, like, push them down. And even then, that is not something that many people, because their viewers aren't always going to know either. So it's like, you know, yeah. Anyway, Mao. My weirdest one wasn't even a bad collab. The first VTuber I met a few months into the streaming invited me for my first collab and it was really fun. Then people on socials decided he must be my boyfriend. It got so awkward for both of us, we just slowly drifted apart. Internet detectives SMH. As her Mao sleeps. Well, that's just a little sad, you know. I mean, that is also a thing, is, you know, when you're a VTuber and it's your job to socialize, it's not always your audience is gonna vibe with whoever you're socializing with. And, you know, if the audience aren't vibing with it, then inevitably you just have to stop doing it. That happens a lot. It's also like you can vibe with someone a lot, but if it just doesn't make sense for your content, having them on your stream might sometimes not be a good idea, because you gotta take care of your content first and foremost. Nothing was the collaborator's fault, but I once dislocated my elbow during a collab, put it back, and had to dip out of the same collab because my grandpa died. You dislocated your elbow, put it back in place, and then had to dip out because your grandpa died. Oof. That sucks. That's horrible. That's a terrible day. It's like a year's worth of bad luck spent all in one. Okay, this one is from Kit at KitsandVT on Twitter. Oh boy, do I have a story. Ooh. I was a super itty bitty streamer, less than 10 followers, and I'd only streamed a handful of times. I was doing a collab with another streamer that was definitely larger than I was, and halfway through stream I was raided with a party of like 6 people. I was super nervous and excited about it, but the person I was collabing with got really upset with me for it. The raiders were saying I should do a subathon on my stream, and once I hit affiliate, and my collab partner interrupted and went, do a subathon on my stream. I'm an affiliate. By the end of stream, I had 14 followers, and they crashed out in DMs on me. So he baited me, and overall made me feel extremely guilty for having a successful stream. They had over 100 followers at the time too, so like 100 plus followers and crash out at your friend hitting 14. We don't talk anymore. Yeah, the jealousy is normal, right? Like jealousy happens in any profession. I think it just hits really hard and really sad when it's like popularity based. That sucks for Kit. I hope they found better friends after that. Definitely. Ribbit at Ribbit Ram. I once had a collab with a fairly big IRL streamer that presents themselves as a wholesome streamer with a loving, supporting community. When I joined VC to play with them, they and the entire friend group in the VC made fun of my voice and kept mocking it through the whole stream. Played a few rounds, thanked them, and left as soon as I could. Yeah, many such cases, I don't know. That sucks. It's not fun. That's not fun. Anyway. Tsukigata news. Back when I was a Let's Player, I was trying to be more social and collab with people for co-op games. Found someone in an LFG and asked if I minded if he added another girl to the group. Of course I was happy to have her. While we were getting to know each other, he said he was going to run to McDonald's real quick for lunch and left me alone with this girl. Her mood instantly switched to snobby and accusatory. She started asking me a bunch of personal questions, especially my age. I was 26 at the time, so when I told her, she audibly gasped. 19 at the time. She then asked why someone my age was even playing video games. When the guy came back like 20 minutes later, she immediately went, "Did you know she's 26? In the most OMFG what a hack tone I've ever heard, lol." I kind of expected him to say no big deal, he was 24, but nah. Kept dicking at me, just said, "Aha, good luck with the collab," and dipped out of the group entirely. They collabed once and never again, wonder why. Oh. This one's interesting. I had 2 bad collabs with the same person. Okay. This is from Zajori at ZajoriVT. The first one, I got invited with 2 of my friends to do a collab with this person. During the collab, we were only allowed to press audio clips of Sniper Wolf quotes and not talk. Okay. The person was cosplaying as Sniper Wolf and was doing weird stuff to get bits from his chat. The second time I invited the person to a Minecraft collab, he started burning houses and killing everyone in the group because chat was paying them bits. I left the collab because I wasn't feeling well with the situation, and silly me, I decided to raid them to support them because they were new in the community at the time. When I arrived, I noticed the person was mocking me because I left and was making an apology later in ChatGPT as a joke during the stream. I don't know. 26 is hag, by the way? That's weird. I just realized, like, what? And, that's just a stupid person. Like, you can't be burning down people's Minecraft houses for bits. Just seems like a rascal of a streamer. Hopefully they grew up. Hello, Jenny. This next one's from Vivi. Stopped quote-unquote collabing with VTubers and exclusively had hangouts with normal streamer friends because the VTubers were always like, "Can someone in V's chat gift me subs? Thank you." It was awkward as F. I feel like it's just a large lack of social skills in the VTubing community, oh, definitely. You can't ask someone else's viewers for subs. Ugh. Yeah. I do feel like a lot of VTubers do kind of get to the point where they stop collabing altogether. And I don't necessarily think that collabs are necessary, to be honest. I think collabs can help you grow, but I think collabs should be kept something special. I don't think you should collab with people every week. Some people might disagree with me, but I really don't think you should collab with people every week. I think you should, because such a big part of what makes streams appealing is the interaction with the audience. And people usually watch people 99.9% of the time, people watch a channel for the person that is streaming, not to watch that person interact with other people. Collabs can be interesting if it's between like two interesting streamers, but collabs is just like, oh, it's just happens all the time. I don't think it's a good idea. I do think people kind of did a lot of collabs at one point, and now people are sort of pulling back from collabs and not doing it as much. Depends what you're playing, because you need people to commit to the time requirement to play the game. Yeah. I do think collabs can make for a lot of fun situations. It can be fun to watch your favorite streamer bounce off others, but yeah, it's not necessarily a great idea. By the way, chat, towards the end of it, I want to do something special. I want you guys in chat, I want you to tell me your viewer horror story, if you have one. Have you had a negative experience with a VTuber? Share it in chat. At the end, I'll tell you when, and then I'll read it. You're not allowed to share any negative experiences about me, though. No, sirree. But definitely the most real one that I felt when reading through all of these. Ooh, this one's long. This one's gonna be juicy. Definitely the most real one that I felt was the girl who said something about cutting ties and how it's hard to cut ties with someone toxic. I felt that so much. It's really hard to cut ties with toxic people. Because like you have people as part of your life, and they're not nice to you, and they're just not really, like, even if there's some fun parts, they're just not really nice to you and they're not really good to you. And it can be scary to cut people off like that. Like, you can not want to cut them off for many different reasons. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you think they're going to be mad at you. I've been in that situation. I've had people I didn't want to cut off because I was afraid that they were going to like get mad at me, and it was going to be like a whole thing. But I can assure you, ripping off that band-aid, because like what you don't want to do is you don't want to spend your precious time on this planet hanging out with people that aren't good to you and who don't appreciate you and who take advantage of you. And cut him loose. It's far better, even if it's gonna get bad, even if it's gonna lead to an uncomfortable situation. I think it's better to just cut that. Rip the band-aid off. Okay, let's read this one. This one's from Fairy Misu and Seratina. Girl, buckle up for this one. My worst collab experience was with another creator that was 3 times my size. We had some mutual friends who never interacted with one another before, so I raided her to try to reach out one day. She asked what I was doing on stream, and I told her I just finished playing Drunk League with some friends. You take a shot every time you die. That sounds insane. She said that sounded super fun and we should collab. I was so excited because I thought her cosplays were cool and I wanted to make more female gamer friends. I DM'd her on Insta to follow up for the collab, and we scheduled everything. We even talked a bit about things we had in common, and things seemed to be going well. But on the day of the collab, they said she's not responding to my messages at all. Right before the scheduled collab time, she finally responds and assures me she's going to stream. So I decided to go live. After 30 plus minutes of yapping with my chat, she still hadn't gone live. So I decided to start game without her. Eventually she goes live too, but then she spends an entire hour talking to her chat / not responding to me. At this point I had been playing on my own and drinking for 2 hours. Meanwhile she took literally 2 baby sips of a drink before calling me, and to my surprise she didn't want to play on the same team at all. She insists we do a custom 5v5 of her and her viewers against me and my viewers. We never talked about this prior, so I wasn't expecting it at all. I had to grab anyone willing from my chat. She brought on her regulars who were all diamond rank or higher. Obviously, we got stumped. I was absolutely drunk and embarrassed by the end of the whole thing. It was literally so bad that some of her viewers felt bad for me and offered to play on my team for some of the later games. We never talked again after that. She eventually got a VTuber model by the same artist as me. Well, it was an uncomfortable thing. I don't think this one's too bad. It's just kind of uncomfortable. Feel for her. We played Sea of Thieves, and 2 of them made us repeat the same quest 20 times to farm some book, and the other 2 kept flirting and ignored me. It was so miserable. I went downstairs to put on food on the stove, and then went up to the top of the ship to watch it all happen. That's insane. That sounds horrible. That's not even anyone necessarily being rude. It just sounds like a horrible collab. That's not great. Ugh. Cock collab. Oh shit. The cock chair collab. Okay. Let's see. This one's from a Spanish person. I collaborated. Bo. I wanted to share my perspective on collaborations between VTubers. Outside of elementary school, I've recently seen a friendship arise from a "hi, wanna be my friend" and that's it. In environments where we can't coexist, face-to-face connections usually stem from a spark like shared tastes, common interests or passions that manage to hook into each other. I also don't think it's necessary to be friends to collaborate. However, I do believe it's important to have some criteria when approaching other people. In the end, when we're getting to know each other, it's normal to have both good and bad experiences. It's already normal for bad experiences to become the main axis of trends like these. I think it contributes much more to share positive experiences, lessons learned, or reflections that have arisen from complicated situations, rather than limiting ourselves to airing out negative aspects, which in the... this seems like a whole wall of text, so I'm gonna move on. I quit doing the abduction, because one VTuber whom I've collabed with reported me over a joke, even though they knew my style and agreed to it. Okay. I don't know their styles, so I can't really comment on this one. I think everyone has had a bad collab, including me. There are ways to make sure those bad collabs are few and far between. Take your time before you make content with someone. Get to know them, go up to streams, vibe check them, cool a bit before you go live, and lay out a plan. Ask boundaries. These small things can go a long way. Yeah, I do think so. Oh, definitely. Oh, Giftschlangen. We know them. Lots, but I was also a bad collab partner for many for sure, though I think I've never ghosted someone whose collab already had a date. I remember once after a very intense argument with my family during a very tough time, all I could do was cry. Forced myself to do the collaboration that day, and instead of it being something fun, they ended up consoling me in the middle of the stream. I felt so much shame. I never asked that girl for another collaboration again, because I felt I'd ruined what could have been a good experience because I was unprofessional. These days I handle things much better. First off, the situation with my family is very different, and I try to keep that bubbling up while I'm in a collaboration. I'm sorry, Giftschlangen, that sucks. I hope I can improve and not make that kind of mistake again. I think it's very cool of Giftschlangen to be like, listen, like instead of sharing a bad experience they've had, sharing an experience where, you know, they feel like they were the bad collab partner. Even, I don't think it's like them being a bad person at all. You know, things happen. Sucks that they feel the experience was ruined. Yeah, definitely. It's sweet of them to share, though. Definitely sweet of them to share. I was invited to a repo collab with a bunch of VTubers I didn't know. The host, aka the person who invited us, told us to shut up and not talk to our chat, because that's rude to do during his stream and his collab. Okay, they could have said something nicer. I do think it is best to mute if you're gonna address your chat. I do think it is a good idea to mute if you're gonna talk to your chat. That is etiquette. I will say, while they could have said it in a nicer way, I do think that they are right. Gonna give my... I disagree with being told to shut up and being aggressive and self-centered, but it is frustrating being in a collab and not collabing. You know, it's okay to sometimes answer chat, but you're not really supposed to converse with chat as heavily as a solo stream, right? Been in collabs when my partner was just talking to chat about irrelevant things and I couldn't get a word in. Keep the collab on topic. Collabing isn't the normal stream. Riri says, and I agree with this, while I feel like during a collab you should be interacting with collab members while also addressing all of chat, especially when it's a shared chat. Everyone was able to read all chat messages. I don't think answering to a shared chat should be a reason to fully mute yourself. Exceptions made, of course. If it's a shared chat, I think it's a bit more of a gray zone. I would still say it's a little rude because you can't keep a conversation going with like multiple people at the same time. Having having to also answer a chat, which is essentially another person that the others can't even necessarily hear, can be a bit rude. I think it's a little bit more of a gray zone there. My worst one was for a song. Bought a finished beat from a producer, wrote the lyrics, put down my vocals, paid them their rate for recording, mixing, mastering. After it was finished, they edited the beat 3 times without my knowledge or consent and charged me 500 extra. Okay, don't charge extra for extra services rendered when those extra services were not agreed upon prior. Any extra charges beyond the initial agreed upon cost must be discussed. Even if they ask for something extra, you have to warn them that it'll cost extra. You have to have some sort of written agreement. Anything. Doesn't necessarily... So I'm of the opinion it doesn't necessarily need to be a binding legal contract, but you do need some sort of written agreement with the terms and conditions of this collaboration, like this commission. Anyway, not a collab, but I went to a VTuber's Discord after being invited to mingle and make friends. Went to the VC and they kept saying spurky to everything. I'm/their spurking out was off-putting. I left quietly without bye. Didn't reply anymore and followed. Yeah. I did one of my first collabs with a guy friend I thought I knew well, both on and off stream. Okay, this is already scary. This line right here. With a guy friend I knew well is scary. Already. That's like a... Yeah. Both on and off stream. But at the second we went live, his energy completely changed. He became really aggressive and mean. I think he thought he was just bantering, but it genuinely upset me. Even my community noticed how off it was. Another time someone else asked me to collab, only to mention they wouldn't even be streaming their own POV much closer to the day. There's a reason I highly prefer to do/only do offline collabs these days, where I'm not live during them. I know not everyone agrees with that method though, so I always try to be upfront about my preference for my own comfort and sanity. Yeah, I do agree. I feel like I will say some VTubers, I do think this is a problem with male VTubers especially, have very aggressive on-stream persona, which can very much be a mixed opinion. It can give mixed vibes. Sorry, my nose is so itchy right now. It's distracting me. I'll tell you a story I had from a collaboration. It's fine. I confronted the person about it. They apologized and didn't realize it. But one time, a long time ago, I planned a collaboration with a bunch of different people. And there was one VTuber that I had invited to join. He showed up 2 hours late, and I said, "Where were you? You're so late. It's like we're almost what happened? Why are you 2 hours late?" And they said they got like kind of defensive with me and was like, "Yeah, well, this isn't my usual stream time," or something like, "Yeah, well, I don't stream during this time." As if I should have known that when he agreed to the collab. He agreed to the collab, and then he was like annoyed that I was even doing the collab at this time. But dude, you agreed. You can't be annoyed and then like at the time slot. And they did this on stream. I'm okay with saying it because it's so long ago and the VOD is long gone. There's no clips that exist from it. But like, they were kind of rude to me. I don't think intentionally, but they were definitely kind of rude to me. And then they ended up doing like one. No, here's what happened. They said like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna stream soon." So they ended up doing just one game, was like 20 minutes or something. And then they quit the collab to go stream on their own channel alone. So I like this person. I don't mind them. It's fine. There's no drama between us. But they were being a little rude. They were being a little rude there. And they know they were. I talked to them about it. It's fine. No worries. But they were being rude. I got DMs from other VTubers, like, consoling me and asking me if I'm alright. That's how you know it's like the crazy. There are definitely more cases where I went, Mary, I don't think they were nice to you. And Mary being like, what? I think it was fun and they're nice. As long as you say so. Yeah, Eva definitely notices more than me. Like that like, if a VTuber from the past was like kind of dismissive of me or not really respectful of me or kind of rude or something, and I'm like just completely oblivious to it. I'm golden retriever maxing. I just think they're super nice and stuff. I think I would prefer to live in a world where everyone likes me, you know. So I think most of the time I'll have that presumption about people. Hello, I'm new to your community. Hello, BNHA. Hello. I do think, you know, people are a little dismissive. I also think it's because sometimes I'll ask someone, hey, you want to do this? And then they'll say yes because they respect me, but not necessarily because they like me. That's a problem. It's nice they respect me, but I would definitely prefer to collab with people who like me and not just respect me, you know? Or something. I don't know. Mary's so nice and joy pilled. Dog on me. Mary's only 7 subs away from their goal. Thank you, Faust. Alright. Gotten so many subs these last few days. Thank you everyone in chat. But yeah, I do think it's, I don't know, I would rather go through life being blissfully ignorant of people being rude to me than I would notice it. But at the same time, I think it's good that Aoife notices, if anyone. Anyway, Ayonarishi was supposed to be in a group collab, and for some reason the group just like didn't want to prepare at all. They were all just like streaming and just said, okay, join wherever. I didn't know any of these people beforehand, so it felt off to me. Yeah, I think there's a disconnect of expectations. It's the sort of thing you gotta discuss beforehand. Some people don't want to, like, there's different levels to collabs, I've noticed. So one person I do feel I enjoy the level of preparation they do is Porcelain Maid Joel. Joel will go as far as to have like a pre-stream meeting to discuss jokes that we could do together. And they'll have like a little, at least back when I was there, they'll have a little like intro skit and, you know, go out of our way to have both our models on screen and, you know, all of these different things. So that's a thing. And then there are other people where it's like, oh, just join the Discord call. Don't even bother putting both models on. Just have the Fugi ready. It's super casual. No real plan. These are both valid, I think. But I can definitely see if you're the kind of person who would want more prep, the second is definitely a little jarring. Yes. Okay, I'll read one more. Let me see if I can find any like a little interesting, because then we want to go to viewer stories. Here we can read here. Let's see. Joined an Among Us collab with random people I didn't know years ago. I was brand new to collabs, didn't have any experience, so I thought I could make friends. I didn't know Steam had a friend code to add people, so I said, oh, that's a new thing. This one guy in the collab started making fun of me, calling me stupid and laughing at me for not knowing, pushing others to do the same. I guess he knew everyone, but I didn't. Never joined a collab for years. This was already dealing with the social anxiety, and this made it 10 times worse. I'll struggle to do them even if I don't. Yeah, that's rude. You shouldn't make fun of people even if they don't know anything. Even if you think you're just being silly. Don't do that. You signed up for callings. Very famous / big VTuber has the slot before mine. Everyone was supposed to have a set time to talk to the host. Oh, I already know where this is going. Surprise, my time slot was ignored in favor of this big streamer. Then when it was finally my turn, after like a 10-minute, we talk, and the moment my time is up, I get cut off and leave the call. Not even able to finish my sentences. Nobody was after me. I did. I was the last person to yap. Feels bad. I'm not even angry at the time. It hurt a lot and made me feel like I'm not important. Yeah. Nah, you can't do that. That's not cool. Like, I think it's fine to... It's fine to go a little above time, but like, not when... Like, if there's some... Nah, there's no way this is okay. Under no circumstances is that okay. If you're gonna have set time slots, you need to stick to them. Doesn't matter if someone's a bigger VTuber. That's just a bad look. And especially if it's going out over someone. That sucks. I had a collab where I ended after like 2 hours on the verge of tears because it felt like I was just streaming alongside them instead of doing an actual collab, while the other two people I didn't know sucked up to this big streamer. Probably should have learned something from the previous collab. This whole thing with like, okay, there's like a big streamer and everyone's kind of like crowding them and ignoring you. I think that is just an unfortunate reality. And it sucks. And it's not fun. And there's not really much you can do about it because people obviously will want to interact with the quote-unquote big streamer because it's a good opportunity and a lot of people are watching, so of course they're going to want to do that. It's their job. But I don't know. I do think if your purpose is just to interact with the quote-unquote big streamer, maybe don't even invite anyone. Like, if you're just going to ignore the quote-unquote smaller VTubers, then don't invite them then. Like, if you're not interested in interacting with them on an equal level to the other people you invite, don't even do that. You need to be able to have fun with the people you invite. If you're incapable of having fun with someone because they don't have a significant audience, don't subject them to being ignored in your collab. Not cool. Okay, one last story. I'm trying to... Okay, we're done. We're done. Time for viewer submissions. Dear chat, let's talk about streaming. What is your VTuber horror story? Anything at all. Just no names and no identifying details. That's the rule. Tell me your viewer horror story. Your horror story as a VTuber viewer about a VTuber you've watched. I have one, and it's not allowed to be about me. The Malice Sketches, hello. Thank you everyone who's followed. Thank you so much. Mine's too long for chat limit. Send it in... Hold on. Send it in... Give me a second. Send it in live dogging on our Discord server if it's too long. So if you go to our Discord server, there's a channel that's called Live Dogging. You can go and post it there. This be a collab we were supposed to be in. Sure. Anything at all. Anything at all. Do dreams count? No. My VTuber quote-unquote horror story is me trying to watch an Elsword streamer, and their boyfriend started to increasingly get mad at me for asking player questions. They added me into Streamers Guild, but after that I've stayed silent because that weirded me out. And even in game, he gets a bit defensive about me being there at times. Another funny note was a streamer asking me to like them more than you. I just stopped watching them altogether. What, more than me? There was a streamer you were watching that asked you, can you like me more than Merry? Yikes. How dare they? How dare they question Merpenny's loyalty, huh? How dare they? That's a little uncomfortable. What do you mean, yikes? I mean, it is yikes for them to ask that, no? It is yikes. That's not a nice thing to say or pressure you to. I thought you meant the amount I watch you. No, no, no. Did you mention an amount you watch me? I didn't see anything about an amount. Hello, I'm new to your community. Nice to meet you, BNHA. No personal horror stories. The worst I've ever seen as a viewer was a D&D RP that subsequently ended when the DM got cancelled. Oh, that's never fun. Okay, let's see here. One time, like forever ago, I used to scroll through Twitch and watch random streamers for small amounts of time. One time I joined just some random small streamer. I already didn't like the vibe of the chatters, very snusky. And when the streamer saw my name, he asked if I was a real life femboy and asked if I could talk in DMs with him. I left after that. Ooh. Jeez. Yeah, I can imagine your name gets some weirdos from time to time. Yikes. That is not good. Ugh. Ugh. Not good. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very uncomfortable. I can imagine. I can imagine there might be some crazy ones out there. Got banned from a chat of a smaller streamer as a mod for a friend. I once led a raid to him. Thus, I joined to watch a BT3 stream, and they kept calling the currency dollars. I made a small joke about it as well. Dollars in a fantasy setting. But he clearly couldn't take any humor. Even other chatters stopped talking as his annoyance got so apparent when others also commented, and then he banned me. Well, yeah. People get banned for all sorts of weird reasons. I remember there was this very streamer I was told about that banned any streamer If you're a streamer, you're not allowed in his chat. Not a horror story, just sad reality. There was a VTuber I enjoyed watching and chatting with, but when he grew, what is grew? He changed a lot. Distance from chat, refused to read viewer names, even when subbing. Became more of a lewd tuber, and you could pay bits to take off the shirt, etc. Stopped watching completely when they stopped with their Sona and started this professionally with a group or small corpo. Grew. I guess it is an unfortunate reality people change as streamers, and I gotta admit, people have a right to stream in whatever way they feel comfortable. I don't understand people who don't read viewer comments at all and who don't interact with chat. I don't get that. I do not understand that. I think it's counter to everything that makes streaming great. Streaming should be about chat interaction at some level. My horror story that I laugh about today is the streamer that adopted me as a small streamer friend, but when I made a very small overlay thing inspired for the one they made, they badmouthed me to the stream before I joined. Every single person gave me the cold shoulder. I talked to them in DMs and they told me everything was fine, but it clearly wasn't. Next day my VIP badge was gone. That sucks. I'm sorry, Kamichi. An overlay, come on. Tama Makatama, thank you for the 17 months. Thank you. Okay, we got Mikre's worst viewer experience submission. Let's read. I was a mod for a VTuber in one of those VTuber friend groups that had a weekly Google Doc released. I have a lot of these, but my first VTuber viewer story is from when I was 16 and really started to get into the VTuber community. I befriended this small VTuber in a random server and turned into a viewer of theirs. It went from 20 CCV viewers down to like 3, me and some mods. And even the mods wouldn't turn up after a point. This VTuber was always negative about streaming and their viewers, and would always take it out on me, a 16-year-old at the time. They were extremely manipulative and would spam DM me whenever they went live and argue at me if I didn't attend stream and keep that chat alive. And if I did keep that chat alive, most streams would be me trying to make them feel better about their low viewership. This was every day for months. They would deny I was a friend and just a fan, but have daily conversations with me in DMs and say they care about me as a friend. I even know their IRL name and other personal info they told me. They'd constantly contradict themselves about whether they saw me as a friend or a fan. We became somewhat friends before I even knew they were a VTuber, to be honest. It was all too much for 16-year-old me, and I ended up blocking them, and they quit VTubing. Now they're pretty known in some gacha fandoms as a crazy shipper who argues with everyone. If you search their name, a bunch of negative threads come up about them. Every once in a while, just 4 years, they'll DM me saying hi. That makes me sad. That makes me so... That's such a depressing story, Mikre. Must have been, first of all, extremely uncomfortable for you as a 16-year-old be pressured so much. My bad. No, it's okay. I want to hear these stories. But secondarily, like, I am no stranger to mental health issues born from streaming. I think the worst I had was in a stream where I had like a bit of a sadness breakdown. Because I felt kind of like cornered, like I couldn't really grow. And I felt I'd just come out of a situation where a person had like a bigger VTuber that I thought was my friend had kind of admitted to me that one of the reasons they didn't really want to interact with me is because it didn't really seem like I was growing. And it didn't really seem like I could keep up with the others. So I had like a moment on stream that kind of spawned from that. It was a while ago. I think my viewers know what I'm talking about. It was a certain RPG stream. It was a certain new JRPG stream. It was kind of embarrassing because it was after a sponsor segment. I had like a whole moment where I started crying, and then it was a sad moment. It was like a bad mental health moment. Luckily, I can say I haven't had a moment like that since. That was a breaking point for me. Never again. And I think you guys remember. Do you remember? If you don't, it's good, because I don't want you to remember. But I had a mental health moment, and it really sucked. Like, I felt really bad after, because I was like, dude, people fucking like come home from work and they have to deal with me like fucking crying and shit, because it wasn't even that bad. Like, it was fine. Like, I had an awesome community, had people that loved me and stuff. Like, it really wasn't a in an isolation situation. I wasn't in a bad spot at all. Even if I didn't have as many viewers as before, it was fine. Like, I was fine. It was just like that, what that person told me in that moment. And I part of me doesn't even really begrudge them for it, because it was just like, it's just like, fair enough. Like, they're interested in growing and hanging out with people who are also growing and who are doing like things and working hard to grow. And if you can't keep up, you can't keep up. It's just a very harsh reality, because I think at that point I thought we were friends, and I thought there was someone that I could, like, even if we didn't have the same viewer count, we could like hang out with. But they were like, it's like a harsh reality being told like, no, if you can't keep up, you can't keep up. No, man, like, if you get left behind, you get left behind. That was like, oh jeez, that definitely sucked to hear. Even if I kinda understood what they were trying to say, I still didn't like it. Like, since then they've kind of apologized and they're fine. Like, yeah, so I will say that kind of, I really hated it at the time when I did that, because afterwards there was this podcast that started talking about me and stuff, and it really sucked. It really sucked. Sorry, Malfina noticed my my accent spamming in her chat. Whoopsie. We're gonna raid her after stream. Anyway, it really sucked, because I feel like some people kind of ganged up on me. Like, they kind of jumped me for being ungrateful, when I wasn't even ungrateful. Like, this like podcast like kind of invited me on and was kind of harsh on me for what I said. I was like trying to be very honest. Like, I was trying to be like, hey Tops. I was trying to be like, yeah, like, what I said sucks. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have had that mental health moment on stream. Here's what happened. Here's where my mind was at. And I don't want to be in that position again. And they wouldn't back down. They were just being like really, really mean to me. I'm never going on a podcast like that again. Never. That was a huge mistake. Like, massive mistake. Never doing that again. Never again. So, yeah, that felt bad. That's probably the worst mental health moment I've had. Yeah, they were terrible. Yeah, I don't know what their issue with me was. I think they just wanted. What about Tubbs Pod? Dude, I'd come on Tubbs Pod any day. Any day, anytime. I think they wanted drama. Like, they wanted, they're like, they have me on, so now they can just tear me apart. Like, they weren't being too bad. They were just, I don't know. I didn't feel like they were very, like, they weren't being very fair to me, I don't feel. So as a result, I'm not going back on that, and I'm probably not gonna, anything to do with drama, I'm not gonna show up. Can't grasp I even trusted they had good intentions. I mean, that's my problem, right? Is I assume, fundamentally I think everyone has good intentions, and sometimes they just don't. And That's my mistake. Like, it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing thing. I'm embarrassed by having done that. But it's a long time ago, and, you know, you move on. Let go of it. Move on, let go. And I haven't had a bad mental health moment on stream since. So that's good. I mean, I've said stupid things on stream, but I've not had a bad mental health moment, and I feel much better now. I have a much more healthy approach to streaming, and yeah, I feel great. I love my chat. I think I realized, like, in isolation, stop comparing yourself, because comparison is the death of joy. And I thought to myself, like, if no other streamer in the world existed and I was the only streamer, would I be happy right now? Yes? Okay, I'm happy then. Then nothing else matters. It doesn't matter. I have the best audience in the world. Couldn't be happier. Everything's perfect. I love you guys. Of course, I want to recruit more dogs, but I'm happy where I am. I love you guys. You're the best community. Yeah. Okay. So I guess long and short is I sympathize with what Mikre says. I've had people who, I think the worst story I've ever heard was a girl going from 700 viewers to like 20 viewers and having to go back to work. That's the worst I've heard. So it really just goes to show, I think the that she had like a whole very sad like tweet about it. Like, she was like talking about it and being like, I feel like I had like the golden ticket and I lost it and I don't know how. And I think that can happen. We got to be appreciative of what we have. We got to keep working hard. Can't relax too much. You can't take people for granted. Like, if I take you guys for granted and I stop trying my best, like, if I just like take a ton of time off stream, if I stop bothering making new content, if I don't give my absolute best, or even if I just sit there and play gacha games every day, and if I just like quietly play story games and stuff, if I don't put in effort, if I don't make it special, if I don't like exert myself a little bit, anyone can end up in that situation. Don't take it for granted if you have an audience willing to watch you. If you took a big break, we wouldn't mind if you needed a dog. I know, Mikre. I appreciate it. Thank you. I know you'd come back. But I also think I need to work hard to make nice things for you. So even if I did take a break, I would make content. Like, I would make like 20 extra storytime shorts that I would, or videos or something that I would post and schedule so that you'd have something to watch while I'm on break. I'd make something like that. You've never taken us for granted. Said it many times that you bother with us more than any creator I've watched. Just with their audience. Oh, thank you, Tubbs. I appreciate it. YouTube Shorts. Man, I love YouTube Shorts. Yeah, me too. Another point on that, VTuber, they quit their job very prematurely for VTubing, which added onto the daily crash outs for me. Yeah, that sucks. Like, just because you have some viewers, don't immediately quit your day job. Unless you have like massive savings, right? It takes what could be a fun, exciting thing and it turns it into something almost bad. Where, like, you have to reach a certain level of popularity or things are gonna go bad for you. It's not a good idea. Wow. So yeah, I think what do I want to end the stream with? I want to say thank you for watching, and to all of you out there who are VTubers, if you're gonna collab with someone, prepare for the possibility that you might not get along with them or they might be a bad person. Try to have a call with them before. Take a note out of Joel's book. Have a pre-collab meeting. Have a meeting, have a chat, see if you vibe, you know. A lot of VTubers do that. See if you vibe, see if you get along. watch some of their previous collabs. Sorry for bumming you out, chat. No, you didn't bum us out, Mikre. It was a very interesting case study. I actually appreciate you telling us about it. Thank you for that. Thank you for the stream, Mary. Thank you, Ellie. Yeah, and I hope all of you, dear chat, I hope all of you are kind to the people around you and are kind to your fellow VTubers. And I hope you remember that if someone makes you uncomfortable, whether they're a VTuber or another person online, don't be afraid to confront them about it and let them know. It's fine to let them know, or just stop talking to them. That's fine. Set up your boundaries, make them clear, protect your mental health, protect your safe space. And if a VTuber ever pressures you to watch, like in Mikre's case, that's not a good person. Don't give them the time of day. Don't let them pressure you. Unless it's me, in which case you are contractually obligated to watch all 10 hours a day if I stream, or I will show up at your house and force you, Clockwork Orange style. Yeah. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's raid Malfina. Let's do a cool accent raid. We love your accent. Let's do it. We love your accent, Malfina. We love your accent. You got such a pretty accent. Yay. She is the VTuber from the story that we told earlier who was bullied kind of for her accent and was even asking her CEO before she debuted as a VTuber if she should debut with an American accent, which I think would have been a travesty. I'm glad she stuck with her Scottish accent. Let's raid into her, and we love your accent, Malfina. We love... Yes, that's right, Mikre. Let's give her some love. We've had enough of these goddamn American accents. We want special, cool, awesome accents like Malfina's very pretty accent. All right. Good night, good night. Bye-bye. Woof, woof, woof. See you soon, chat. I'll be around. I won't stream tomorrow because I'm gonna go to the movie with my friends tomorrow. Yay! Dog field trip with friends. I'm gonna go bully Ash and Toro and Twin. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Woof.